So I put together this list for all the things I have to get done before Bantam. Everything above that line. Timing, it's still running hot, so timing will definitely lead to running hot. So we're gonna double check the timing, make sure that's good. Translinkage, we need to adjust that a little bit. We're not getting in park properly or first gear, so we want to adjust translinkage. T-case linkage, same deal. We fight with it getting in 4 low, so we just need to tweak that a little bit. Transleak, I just talked about between the transmission and the transfer case. Front axle yoke, we can actually cross that one off now. Replace the top. I have a new Bimini Top Plus from Quadratec. My old one had a rip in it. They replaced it under warranty, so I have to get that put back on and send the old one back to them. Extend the exhaust. I'd like to get the exhaust tip a little further back, keep the fumes out of the Jeep a little bit. Wrap the exhaust. There's a spot where the drive shaft was rubbing, so we need to re-wrap that. Replace axle. My last video you saw where I broke that front axle shaft. We have a new one from Yukon. We need to get that installed. Build transmission is another critical one that you saw from my last videos. I'm definitely under geared, so I'm going to build my spare Turbo 350, and I'm going to swap in a different gear set to get a lower first gear ratio. Pretty excited about that. Definitely going to show you that whole process. And taillights. Taillights are critical because I now have a license plate for my Jeep. I can drive this thing on the road for the first time in a dozen years. So need to fix my taillights because of that. And as we go down, fuel cell, gas gauge, roll cage, onboard air, seats, frame stretch, build my Super Duty axles, front suspension. Lots of things to do in the future, but those aren't critical right now. This top list of 11 items has to get done for Bantam. Alright, so as you can see here, my front pinion seal is leaking pretty good. It's all wet around there, so we're going to go ahead and knock this out. While we pull this off, we're going to change out this yoke as well. We're going to put a 1330 yoke in there instead of this 1310. Alright, just going to knock that pinion nut off with an 1/8" socket. Use a magnet to get that washer out of there. We're going to gently persuade this yoke off with a hammer. Just like that. Now the other issue with this yoke is this tab on the one side is broken off, so it always was a little bit questionable. Another reason we're upgrading that. Alright, now we just need to get in here and pop this old seal out of there. We might as well pull these spacers off here and have a look inside while we're here. Oh yeah, bearings look good. Okay, we're going to drive the new seal in with just a piece of tubing. In this case, it's actually a header flange. But it works just fine. It's about the right size, so we're not deforming this seal. Use a soft hammer. I guess with the soft hammer, we'll just go right after the seal. That should be seated just fine. Alright, last but not least, we're going to put this new yoke in. It's a Spicer 2-4-6111X. Again, it's a 1330. Put the washer back on there. Axle nut. just going to run her back in with the impact. That's all there is to it. Pretty easy job. I might look up a torque spec just to make sure, but I think we're going to be okay there. Alright, so the pinion seal is just one of the things on my list. We have a lot to get done. We have the Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival coming up in a few weeks, and I just have a ton of things I need to get done. I thought I was close. There's always more, though. So we've got the hydraulic steering buttoned up now. See our ram in here. Got our hoses run up to the box. Got all the air out of it. We've run it. It's a little heavy. It may be heavy because I went with a 1/4-inch lines instead of a 3/8. I may at some point in the future upgrade that just so we can answer that question. I know a lot of guys said 1/4-inch is going to create more heat, but it also might make my steering a little heavy. It's just as heavy with the Jeep up in the air as it is on the ground, so I think the hydraulic assist is functioning, making it just as easy to steer on the ground as it was in the air, which is a good thing. But it's heavier than I'd like it, so I think it's a thought, but it may be because of the 1/4-inch lines. But it is functioning. Once we get this put back together, we're going to take it out for a drive and see how well it's functioning. Also, you can see the drive shafts are both out. We have a transmission leak yet again between the transmission and transfer case. We're going to be dealing with that. So about 10 years ago, I got a set of these 4-inch round LED taillights that are going to go in here. Finally getting rid of these old buckets. Just wasn't a priority. Now that I have my license plate and get back on the road, I realized the last time I had it out that my taillights weren't working. So we're going to go ahead and get these old trailer lights out of here, and we're going to get these new LEDs in. We're also going to try to move this license plate. I'm going to maybe try to move it down because we don't need this filler anymore. We're going to do something different when we get to that point. So I'd like these lights to sit a little bit lower than way up here. So we're gonna see what we can figure out. So here's my thought for this license plate bracket. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'd like to just flip it over. It's going to get the license plate a lot lower than it was. Give me room to lower my lights a little bit as well. But now it's going to leave this giant hole here. I don't know if I like that or not. So another option might be to move the plate up. Put my light in that giant hole. That's not going to fit right. So maybe I'll leave the plate like it was so it covers that hole and just put the lights up here where they used to be. Tail lights here, so the backup may go beside it. There's room there. I think that makes sense. Let me move you guys over a little bit. So again, if we center the tail light over where the original stuff was, we're going to move the backup light right over here. Same top, so it's the same height, or we could center it. Boy, I don't know. For some reason, I like it lined up with the top. I don't know why, but that's what we're going to do. Instead of using a hole saw, because actually the larger lights are a little over 4. They're about 4 1/4 actually. I'm just going to go ahead and use the jigsaw. Alright, tail lights are done. I didn't share all that with you because let's face it, it wasn't real exciting. Drilled a couple holes. Stuck in some lights. I also got my backup lights in there. I do not have those wired yet because, well, I don't have a way to wire them yet. I think I'm just going to put them on a switch of some sort. But taillights are in and working. I also removed my tire carrier. Wasn't much point carrying around that 35. It definitely wasn't going to handle a 40. Actually, the 35 was enough weight to rip a hole in my bumper. So I didn't have to cut the welds. It just kind of fell off. So it's a new look in the back. It's a little cleaner. Alright, so we've been playing with this winter shifter linkage to try to get it to line up just right. And no matter what I've done, it's just not quite right. I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to have to trim about 1/8 of an inch of the threads off the end of this. It's the only way to get it right. I've torn it apart up inside a couple times, down here a couple times, tried moving to the other hole. Everything I try, it's just not quite perfect. So the only way to get it is to cut a few threads off of here. So we're going to go ahead and do that and see if we can get that to line up right where it's supposed to be. We're going to use this lock nut and back it off to try to knock over any burr there might be out here at the end. Okay, there is definitely a little burr there. So this is the end, just a little spring to capture it on the ball. Okay, so that did go right on here. The detent is currently in the drive position. Seems to be lined up, so we're going to go run it through the gears and see how it feels from up top. So that's park, reverse, neutral, drive, second, first. So the shifts all feel like they hit the detents correctly, so I think we're good. We'll know a little bit more once we get out and drive it. All right, we're getting things knocked off the list. We got the timing done. Trans linkage is done, working good. I just took it for a drive. That feels good. I'm still having some issues in park. I'm assuming when my linkage came off a while back, I may have lost something on my park prawl connector. I don't know. So it looks like we're pulling the pan yet again. See if we can figure out why I'm not holding in park. Other than that, definitely getting things done. I did get the new top on tonight. I just got done setting the timing, so definitely making some progress. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We got a lot done this week. I'm glad to be back to putting some videos out in a timely manner. We got a lot done. We're getting where we need to be for Bantam. We're going to leave for Bantam 2 weeks tomorrow. So we have a little bit of time. Things are pretty good. Still have to get my axle shaft in, a couple other little things, but most of the big stuff is done. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, leave me some comments, ask some questions, give me some feedback of some kind. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.